Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, and a big hello to each one of you. In today's video, we are actually going to discuss a very important topic, which is consumer protection in India. Now, the flow of the video would be like this: that we are going to look at who is a consumer, why consumer protection is necessary, the consumer protection in India till now, what is the consumer protection process in terms of how a given consumer can enforce his or her rights. We are also going to discuss what changes have been brought in by the 2019 Consumer Protection Act over the original 1986 Consumer Protection Act, and then we are also going to discuss what is the way forward to make sure that this brilliant legislation actually brings all around success, and at the same time makes the normal consumers happy and contented. Now, talking about who is a consumer, it's a very simple question because each one of us is a consumer of some product or some service. The 2019 Consumer Protection Act defines consumer, but in simplistic terms, anybody who avails of a product or a service for consideration is a consumer. Now, in terms of the fact that with the advancement of the technology and things like e-commerce etc. being there, the definition now has covered e-commerce related activities also, and with advertisements etc. also now holding the sway, anybody who's watching an advertisement is also a consumer, although he may not have ordered anything or paid for anything, because misleading advertisements also are now under the eyes of the 2019 Consumer Protection Act. Now, why consumer needs to be protected? As we have witnessed in our own country also and even worldwide, with the advancement of world trade and businesses across countries supported by new advancements in technology, consumerism is something which is inevitable, and each one of us across the globe is forced to avail of some products or services, and there is a very high probability that either driven by some bad motives or because of the ignorance on the part of the consumers, there are going to be situations where a given consumer may not get value for the money paid by him or her. Even seen from the other side, consumer protection actually helps. It is a win-win for both the sides, in the sense that if a company is good towards its consumers, it is going to do well in future, and at the same time, if consumers are protected well, not only that they will be happy, but they will be a very loyal customer of the companies or organizations from where they are availing of these products or services. Now, talking about consumer protection in India. Now, India, as we all know, after 1947 when we got the independence, before that there was hardly any semblance of consumer protection, because the British rule was an ugly example of some financial drain from India, and they had hardly any concern for the consumers in India during their rule. But post independence, we find that as economy progressed, by 1980 we find that the first very important consumer rights organization came up with the name Common Cause, which was founded by Shri H.D. Shuri, who till now remains a pioneer in this field, although he passed away a few years back. In 1983, we saw another consumer platform coming up with the name Voice. In 1984 came cuts. So these were the initial efforts made by people to generate environment in India in terms of consumer rights, and forced by their activities. In 1986, the government of India came out with the first Consumer Protection Act 1986, which is known as COPRA also. So that was the first legislation in 1986. But later on, as India progressed, and in 91 onwards, when the economic liberalization took place in India, the size of the trade and business, and therefore the challenges also multiplied, with the result that recently in 2019, the NDA government came out with a much improved Consumer Protection Act, and it was followed by the rules that were made in the year 2020, wherein rules regarding e-commerce and other kind of business transactions, or product and services transactions were also covered. Now, talking about the consumer protection in India, with the emergence of 1986 Act, in 1988, thanks to the Supreme Court judgment in Common Cause versus Union of India, the country saw the emergence of the platforms for consumer protection. So we had the district forums at the level of the district, then we had the state commissions at the state level, and then we had the apex body, which is known as the National Consumer Redressal Commission. Now, this three-tier setup, I'll quickly take you through how they operate. At the district level, the chairperson of the district consumer forum is either a serving or a retired district and session judge, and he is to be supported by two members, one of which has to be a woman. Now, these two members need to be people with experience in public life or businesses or social service, etc. At the state level, the State Consumer Commission is headed by either a serving or a retired High Court judge, supported again by two members, one of whom have to be a woman. At the apex level, it is known as the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. It is headed by an ex-Supreme Court judge, and he is to be supported by four members, one of which again has to be a woman. Now, in terms of their jurisdiction, the district forum originally would hear complaints up to 20 lakhs of rupees. From 20 lakhs to 1 crore was the jurisdiction of the State Commission, and 1 crore onwards was the jurisdiction of the National Commission. But with the amendment that was brought in, because the Act of 2019 actually repealed the 1986 Act, and with that the pecuniary jurisdiction of these three bodies was also raised. So the 2019 Act said that the pecuniary jurisdiction of the district forum would be up to 1 crore instead of 20 lakhs. Of the State Commission would be 1 to 10 crores instead of up to 2 crores that they had, and of the National Commission would be 10 crore plus. This was the pecuniary jurisdiction change brought in by the Act of 2019. But let me at this level also tell you that recently in December 2021, the pecuniary jurisdictions have further been amended, they have been brought down again, and the present status is that a district forum can hear up to 50 lakhs, State Commission up to 2 crores, and beyond 2 crores the National Commission. The reason for this change is that because of raising the pecuniary jurisdiction level of the district forum, the district forums were actually flooded with so much of litigation that it became very difficult for them to handle them. Now, in terms of who can file a complaint in the consumer platforms, it could be either an aggrieved individual, or a group of individuals, or it could be a consumer body like Common Cause or CUTS, etc., or it could be the state government or the central government, or in case the original the person who suffered some loss or had the grievance is no more, his or her heir or legal representative. So these are the people who can move the consumer courts or platforms. Now, why? In what circumstances can somebody file a consumer, grievance complaint? Is maybe there are various situations. Some that come to my mind are, somebody having faced deficiency of service, or somebody would have got spurious products, or somebody would have been overcharged, or somebody would have been given a different kind of understanding and having been delivered an entirely different product or service, or somebody would have not been given services as explained while the product was being brought, bought, and therefore these are the situations when these consumer platforms could be moved. Now, talking about the changes that the new Consumer Protection Act of 2019 has brought in, there have been some 5-6 very important changes. The first is regarding the territorial jurisdiction. In the original 1986 Act, the person against whom the complaint was being lodged was he or the organization had the advantage of the fact that this complaint could be only lodged at the place from where the opposite party functioned. But now in the 2019 Act, it can be lodged anywhere. It can be lodged at the place where the opposite party resides or at a place where the complainant resides. Other than that, the 2019 Act has also come out with an authority called CCPA, which is Central Consumer Protection Authority, which is a very powerful authority to keep a vigil over the whole consumer ecosystem. And they have the right to oversee and keep a watch over advertisements, endorsers, or various other activities of various companies or organizations. It would be of interest to mention that a few months back in Gurgaon, a realtor who had actually advertised that they would have Michael Schumacher special tower, or that Michael Schumacher or Maria Sharapova, a legendary female tennis player, they were the endorsers of this reality project. And recently we found that when the builder did not conduct as per the promises given, even an FIR was lodged against Maria Sharapova and Michael Schumacher also. So there lies the strength of this CCPA, that any bad advertisement, misleading advertisement, or unfair trade practice, if detected by them, even in case of e-commerce platforms like Amazon or Flipkart, the CCPA can be very proactively take action. Other than that, this 2019 Act has also introduced the mediation process for consumer disputes. So in a given case, the two parties can even go for mediation for the resolution of their disputes also. So these are the various changes. But other than that, we still find that despite all the various changes that 2019 Act has brought in, the pendency of consumer cases is still mounting. And as we have discussed in many of our other videos, the pendency of litigation in India for the purpose of the civil or judicial or criminal cases, we find that even in case of consumer affairs, where it has been, the process of redressal has been made very, very simplified, still we find that although the 2019 Act says that a given complaint has to be disposed of within 3 months of the notice being received by the opposite party, we find that the average time taken for the resolution is still more than 9 to 10 months across India. And if I look at the litigation prevailing in the whole country, we find that more than nearly 6 lakh cases are pending in various forums of consumer redressal, and more than 75 to 80% of them are actually pending at the district forum level. So therefore, the way forward lies in making sure that the CCPA is very, very effective. The Consumer Forum, the State Commission and the National Commission, they have no vacancies. The government have to make sure that the vacancies are filled in at the earliest. The deferments which are being, and it is very, it will be of great interest to viewers that in case of consumer cases, one does not need to even engage lawyers, and one can go to the court and lodge a complaint with a very nominal fees. Still, in many cases, or in most cases, if I could say, lawyers are still being engaged, and we are finding a situation wherein the deferments are being sought, adjournments are being sought, and the forum of the consumer side, they are still not being able to curb this tendency. So going forward, it will be a great service to the consumer rights in India that the vacancies have to be filled, the process has to be streamlined, the adjournments have to be curbed, and as ordained in 2019 Act, most of the disposals have to be within the 3 months period prescribed there. I am very sure going forward, as India is one of the emerging economies, many global companies are coming to India, and India is now becoming a hub of online transactions taking place, not only in financial matters but in terms of all the products and services. And therefore we need a very robust mechanism, and we need our consumer courts and forum commissions and the National Commission to act like a watchdog and make sure that the consumer rights of the individuals are protected at any cost, and India develops as a leading economy of the world, which is the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, who has been repeating time and again that India needs to be a 5 trillion economy at the earliest. And I'm very sure these are all contributions towards that goal. So this was all about the consumer protection in India. You are requested to please send your feedback, spread this video to your friends and in your network, subscribe the channel, and I'm very sure going forward we are going to discuss such important topics one after the other, which will always keep us informed, and we would be a vibrant citizen of this great republic called India. Please do take care. Namaskar.